crazy. What exactly was HYBE hiding all this time? Astonishing evidence of Jungkook and Taehyung is finally coming to the surface, and even more shocking, it's happening quietly before the two actually separate. What is the hidden meaning of HYBE? Why does no one dare to speak? And why does Jungkook seem devastated after meeting his family? Are you really sure you know everything about Jungkook and Taehyung's relationship? Do you also think that their separation is something ordinary? But what if something is never told to the public? What if HYBE had been hiding something that could shake our understanding of both? Jungkook and Taehyung's breakup wasn't just a matter of personal schedules, nor is it about mutually intelligible choices. It's about something deeper, something that even the army has not been aware of all this time. A small clue, which was finally revealed just before Jungkook said goodbye to meet his family. Why does Taehyung seem so quiet? Why isn't there a hug like usual? Why are their expressions so empty? As backstage cameras captured the moment, a moment that lasted only 13 seconds, HYBE staff seemed to fall silent. There was not a single sound. There is no special greeting. Even Jungkook did not smile as usual when saying goodbye. What exactly happened? And why was the video never released on the official Bangtan channel when almost all other emotional moments are always shared with the public? Even more surprising is the internal report that was suddenly scattered last week. A document allegedly leaked from HYBE's internal systems exposes a media security script with two very familiar names, Jungkook and Taehyung. The content of the document is not a joke. There are records of diversion of public opinion, removal of footage, and even prohibition of emotional interaction on camera. Why do two members who are known to be very close become targets of security? Are they hiding something from the camera? Or is it hidden? A source from Bangtan's internal creative team, who did not want to be named, revealed that there was one video recording of a closed rehearsal that was supposed to be released before their final comeback, but was cancelled in a matter of hours after direct intervention from top parties. In the video, Jungkook and Taehyung are seen talking for quite a long time in the condition of the stage lights that have been turned off. The expression on both of their faces was full of tension. And most painfully, at the end of the video, Taehyung turns around and leaves, leaving Jungkook sitting on his own. What does all this mean? Is this a quarrel? Or is there a lot of pressure they can't handle? One theory from longtime fans is that Jungkook's decision to walk away to see his family was not purely his own. There is speculation that it is a form of escape, an escape from emotional pressure that is increasingly unbearable. Some army claim to find hidden sentences from their comeback interview footage. In one scene, when asked about what he missed most during rehearsals, Jungkook simply replied, "The missing thing probably won't be back." The sentence was briefly cut in the version that aired on YouTube, but the original version that aired on local TV showed it intact. Why should it be cut? This suspicion was further strengthened after a leaked voice memo circulated from one of the editorial staff who claimed to be asked to disguise Taehyung's voice in an internal documentation video. In the memo, a voice similar to Taehyung said, "I know it's not fair, but I can't blame him either. Everyone told me to shut up. But I can't go on like this." Is it addressed to Jungkook? Or is it to the management team that has allegedly set the narrative of their relationship? What really happened between Jungkook and Taehyung before they separated? Why did HYBE choose silence? And why is it that every time this is discussed in the community, the post suddenly disappears? Is this just a coincidence? When Jungkook finally showed up with his family overseas, without a single other BTS member around, his facial expressions were so different. Some fans who saw him immediately described him as a person who looks empty and disoriented. On the other hand, Taehyung was also caught on paparazzi cameras in Korea, wearing a dark hoodie and a downcast face. Not as usual. Neither of them ever said there was a problem. But does silence mean okay? Or is it just part of a well-designed silent strategy? Aren't there too many coincidences? This includes the loss of their daily vlogs that are usually regularly uploaded, as well as changes in the theme of the documentary that suddenly changed direction to be more neutral and less emotional. Some ARMY also mentioned that during the last comeback, there was not a single moment of long eye contact between Jungkook and Taehyung on stage. Whereas before, their eye contact was always the part that fans were waiting for because it contained such deep emotions. This time, everything felt flat. The distance is visible, but never explained. Is this just a management strategy? Or is there something bigger? More personal? More painful? What was surprising was the emergence of new clues from a handwritten note found in one of the official photo books. On the 13th page, under Taehyung's photo, a short sentence is written that is not listed in the digital version. Sometimes silence is louder than words, but some silences are forced. No mention of who wrote it, but his writing style is very similar to Taehyung's handwritten notes in previous BTS projects. Now we ask, is HYBE really hiding something? Have we all been too complacent with the sweet narrative presented and failed to see the wounds behind the scenes? And if there really is evidence that has been kept tight, what is the purpose of HYBE doing it? Protect who? All this makes the public wonder even more, especially after news emerged that Taehyung had wanted to take a sabbatical from certain projects, but then canceled at the request of the company. And not long after that, Jungkook disappeared from social media for more than 2 weeks, without explanation. The ARMY can only guess. There are too many unanswered questions. Too many clues were deliberately deleted, and too many emotions buried in silence. But one thing is now starting to feel certain. The relationship between Jungkook and Taehyung is not going well, and HYBE's silence only reinforced that suspicion. Do you still believe that their breakup was just an ordinary break? Or are you also starting to wonder who actually put together this big script? But what is most disturbing of all is not just a matter of empty expressions or edited words, but rather the moment when one of the ARMY's large fan bases, known to be close to one of HYBE's former staffers, uploaded an old photo that had not previously been seen in public. The photo shows Jungkook and Taehyung in a rehearsal room, just the two of them. No cameras, no crew. What makes the picture mysterious is their completely different expressions than usual. Taehyung is seen crying with his head down, while Jungkook stands with his back to him with his hands clenched into a fist. No time, no specific location. But fans are speculating that the photo was taken just days before Jungkook went to see his family, a farewell that remains a big puzzle. What happened in that room? Why is Taehyung crying? And why did HYBE never allow this photo to appear in official content? A few days after the upload went viral, the fanbase deleted the post. The account was also lost. It just disappeared. No explanation. There is no clarification. And that's where the rumors started to grow. Is it true that HYBE is pressuring the fanbase to stop the spread? And even more suspicious, several other accounts that tried to re-upload the photo were also blocked by the social media algorithm automatically. Is this all just a coincidence? Or is there a big system at work to keep the public narrative going? A South Korean entertainment journalist who declined to be named admitted that he had tried to raise the story through one of the major media. But before his article went up, he was called by someone from the agency and asked to wait for a more appropriate moment. But when is that moment? And why does anyone feel the need to manage time to convey something that is actually very important to the public? It didn't end there. A few weeks ago, in a live broadcast that Taehyung secretly did on his platform only lasting 2 minutes and 38 seconds, there was one sentence that was successfully recorded by fans. Sometimes what you thought was with you is gone a long time ago. This sentence instantly triggered a wave of analysis from the fans. Some believe it was intended for Jungkook. There are also those who say that it may be a form of Taehyung's disillusionment with everything that has happened so far, from public pressure, corporate orders, to personal relationships that are increasingly distant. Is this a form of honesty? Or just code wrapped in a wound? Jungkook himself does not seem to intend to convey anything similar. But one moment is undeniable. When he appeared in one of the overseas programs, the host asked about his friendship with other BTS members. Jungkook smiled stiffly and simply replied, "We all value each other's space. That's the most important thing." There is no mention of names. No warm anecdotes as usual. Just a sentence that feels very carefully composed. And hollow. The moment went viral. Pieces of the video spread everywhere. And every comment from fans is filled with one and the same question. Where's Taehyung? Why didn't Jungkook say his name? Have they really moved away? This question was further compounded when HYBE announced a new documentary project about the personal lives of BTS members during the military hiatus. Surprisingly, from the trailer are: if the breakup between Jungkook and Taehyung was just a private affair, why are so many digital traces deleted or hidden? Why is it that every time there is speculation about the two, especially those that touch the emotional sphere or personal conflicts, comments from fans suddenly disappear, videos are censored, and certain content is no longer accessible? A former HYBE video editor, who is no longer under contract, anonymously delivered a shocking confession through a private channel. In one of the 9-minute videos that immediately went viral on X, he mentioned that there is a secret folder in HYBE's production server that specifically stores unreleased footage, and most of it has to do with emotional interactions between members. The folder was codenamed BTSDK Vault, which is believed to refer to Taehyung and Jungkook. According to him, the folder holds dozens of hours of footage from behind-the-scenes rehearsals, private chats, to discussions before big shows, especially during the final years leading up to the group's hiatus. However, there was one recording that made him unable to sleep for days. Not because of the dramatization, but because of the guilt in the video. Jungkook and Taehyung are sitting in the recording studio after a midnight rehearsal. Jungkook was seen holding the script of the lyrics, but didn't read it. He just looked at Taehyung deeply, then said, "If I leave now, will you be angry?" Taehyung didn't answer. He just took a deep breath, then turned around and said, "Sometimes you love everyone but yourself." The sentence was pronounced in a low, barely audible voice. But the editor claimed to keep it in his mind forever. Because after that moment, there was no more similar footage between the two. They were never seen talking that intimately again. All became more formal, more rigid, and strangely, the day after the footage was taken, Jungkook's schedule suddenly changed. He announced he would take time to focus on family and rest. However, many fans felt that the explanation was not in line with Jungkook's expression in his last live broadcast before the break. He was seen forcing a smile, even staring blankly several times without finishing a sentence. Is that a coincidence? Even more surprising, on the night of the announcement of the break, Taehyung uploaded an Insta story with a picture of a dark sky with one so symbolic writing, "You can only hide stars for so long." Many thought it was just poetry. But after all these clues, is it a form of hidden message? Most loyal BTS fans know that Jungkook and Taehyung have a unique relationship, not just as best friends, but as two people who understand each other off stage, in silence and in pain. However, when one side starts to move away and the other falls silent, there is no satisfactory explanation. Are they ordered to pretend everything is fine? Is this part of the strategy of maintaining the image of the group and the company? If so, are their emotions also sacrificed in this process? ARMY, who finds pieces of Taehyung's other handwritten notes from an old photo book, begins to connect them. In the note it is written, "When I wanted to explain, it was too late. But I hope one day he knows that I never want him to feel alone." Is this about Jungkook? Is that an apology? Or is it a silent complaint of not being able to convey feelings directly? More mysteries began to emerge from their old contents. One of the videos, Run BTS, the last episode before the hiatus, showed the two sitting next to each other, but not talking as much as usual. Fans were keenly aware that Taehyung stared at Jungkook several times, but each look was never reciprocated, as if they both knew the camera was paying attention and chose to keep their distance. Increasingly, all of this feels like part of a larger scenario. But not a movie scenario, rather a real-life scenario that is too sick to explain directly. And when the public finally began to smell this oddity, HYBE chose to silence all parties. Some YouTube channels that try to address this openly report that they receive repeated copyright warnings, even for content that is already publicly available. Discussion forums such as Reddit and Weverse also began to impose strict moderation of certain keywords. The words "V Hope conflict," Taekook issue, and Jungkook crying backstage become sensitive words that are automatically blocked or deleted. All this made the public ask deeper questions. If there is nothing to hide, why should so many things be removed? The breakup, which happened quietly before Jungkook went to see his family, wasn't just a moment off camera. It was the climax of a relationship that was once so strong. And now, all that remains are speculations, silent cries, and endless questions. And now, armies around the world are